If you build a better platform, Blind Kaizo Race by Shovda. I played this a million years ago. I'm not reading that again, though. I found a VOD of me playing this when the race actually happened, since I was doing some file management stuff. What's up, Weregoose? Thanks and good luck. You remember this one? Did you race this one, Hawaluta? The only thing I know is I came in last. So, better platformer with D to the 4th right there. A better platform. We'll see if it got any better. Shovda? Oh, Shovda made this level. So, Romhack Races, since I've been playing them, I should at least, say, is a weekly blind race of a brand new Kaizo level, never before seen, almost every week. And Shovda made this level for it in 2020. And I did actually participate in the live race, and that's why I'm like, oh yeah, let's play this today. I also saw that Chan had made a new level for the most recent day, and I was like, ah, that could be fun. So, fair enough. Anyway, Romhack Race is a good thing to do, a good, enjoyable time. I often find myself watching it on Saturdays if I can't race, which I haven't raced in so long. And it's just a good time. Glitchcat MCs it with the occasional BD, the infamous person previously known as Dr. No. And just a good time. A lot of Da Vinci's Yellow Mustard ads. So many Da Vinci's Yellow Mustard ads. Oh, it's close. But yeah, I mostly remember this because of the Bumble thing. I actually met Shovda in real life a couple times. Once last SGDQ, the one that happened in 2024, and most recently the one that happened in the SGDQ that happened this year. Yeah, pretty chill gal. There was a lot more, what was it, flax or something? It was a very odd, told a long story about her father illegally growing some type of grain. It was a weird, interesting story. But I digress. Nope, not enough. Yeah, so the thing about GDQ is that 99% of it doesn't happen on camera. So if you go to GDQ, depending upon community and all that, you probably just find yourself in the practice room most of the time. Sure, there's excursions to other things. Ginseng, thank you. Ginseng isn't a grain, I'm gonna be honest, but my memory is not always the best. Gotta go to sleep. Alright, sleep well, Matt. See you later. We'll talk Pokemon in the vaguely near future. I'm getting things on that list done this month. Was also considering moving Dead Space up a few places, just because it's appropriate for this time of year, as opposed to playing it around I don't know, Valentine's Day. But yeah, you go to SGDQ, you'll spend most of your time in the practice room. At least I do, because that's where people are doing stuff. They're hanging out, and they're oftentimes testing new ROM hacks. People are working on new things. There's always a playthrough of Jump, I suppose, that BK initiates if he's there. Anon was there this year, which was pretty cool. AKA Shell Jump, AKA High with many underscores. He has 80 names. I actually don't know what his real name is. I asked him once what I should call him, and he's like, yeah, Anon's fine. Interesting fella. Interesting fella. Also, he's got a game coming out soon. If you like his aesthetics and beliefs about Kaizo, you will like his game, Impulse. Not Impulse, Impulse. No, wait. One of them. It's on Steam. And I have played it, and I can assure you, it's hard. Dang it. Also, I met Hawaluta again at GDQ, and Hawaluta's also a certifiably pretty cool person. Oh yeah, I should still watch that. There was one speedrun where quite literally someone was trying to sell me on showing up and watching a speed run early in the morning. It was like he's like, yeah, it's gonna be on at 5 a.m. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not waking up for that, but I'll watch the VOD, and I really should go watch the VOD because it was like a first-person shooter made for the Amiga by children in like teenagers in Czechoslovakia. And if you press like F1, it crashes the game. And he'd brought his own Amiga. You bring your own gear to GDQ so you can play on, provided it's not like a more standard thing. You don't have to bring your NES or an SNES or a Genesis or any of like the mainland consoles if you don't want to. You can check them out in the practice room, which is lovely. Oh, I don't know if you were there for that. It was really late at night. I forget which night it was, but what I remember was I was hanging out with Ravenna, Echo Ravenna, and Blue Ribbon. Like I was testing out my USB stuff for Metroid, and they both came over and were wanted to use another console. They're gonna play some SNES games, yeah, we want to play this one game, this fighting game with these naked dudes. I'm like, oh yeah, it's Chowaniki. I know that game. Like, why do you know that off the top of your head? I'm like, how could you not? Once you see the glory that is that game. But anyway, we were hanging around watching or playing. The thing you do when you have a flash cart is you play a lot of random games you've never heard of, or one person's never played but the other person has, and oftentimes they're not very good. Like there was one that was some sort of like compilation like music making game and mini game things, but none of the mini games are very good. And like all of the music tracks were like Pioneer era songs, stuff like that. It was just silly shovelware. And you were like coloring a dinosaur while you were doing this too. It was weird. But then we picked up another random game, and this guy comes over, and it's like we can't figure out what we're doing. Like quite literally, like the game makes no sense to any of the three of us. And this dude comes over and says, "Oh yeah, I speedrun this game. Let me explain it to you." I don't remember if it was the same person, but I think it might have been. Oh goodness. Having to go to a GDQ. Naked dudes. It's a Desi stream. It can be. Now, Chowaniki is just a weird, like, Japanese series. It's usually a shoot-'em-up game, but for some reason they made a fighting game on the SNES. Inexplicably. It's a well-loved kusoga. That's what they call it. Basically means shitty game in Japanese. Whee! Probably should read... I wanted to read the box. What's up, HeroSoft? But yeah, someone else was practicing an Amiga game on the Amiga, and it was that first-person shooter. It sounded interesting. I should watch the VOD. But it was like 5 a.m. on Thursday or something. Like, just some untenable time. Yeah, GDQ's a fun time. Would recommend. What I wouldn't recommend is the vaguely Waldorf-looking salad at the hotel eatery. There were a couple times I went and ate there instead of like going out and finding something, just because like I wanted something quick and I wanted like just to eat and then move on with what I was doing. So I got a couple salads. I wanted salad. Also met the dude who I think he won the mystery tournament. Interesting guy. Talks very quickly. Yeah, not sure about AGDQ. It's going to depend upon some factors this year. Big salad liker, but you make yourself... Oh, here's the thing. If you like salad, you would not have liked this salad. It was mostly cheese and dried cranberries. It was not good. Their Caesar was okay. Just gonna lower this gently. Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, if there was a message there, there isn't anymore. Caesar's hard to fuck up. It's true. But yeah, the other salad was not good. Like, maybe I'll look it up, actually. It wouldn't take me much effort. There, let's look it up real quick. Yeah. Mini Minneapolis. Was it the Marriott or the Hilton? Let me take a quick look here. I'll know by geography. It is... It's not the Hilton. Hyatt? I think it's the Hyatt. That looks right. It was like, yeah, it was amazing. On special offers. I don't care about any of this. Yes, it's in the middle. Eat and drink, view all dining. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, this is it. That is absolutely it. Okay. Hours. Menu. It's either good or insanely good. Exactly. Dinner menu. Okay, spinach salad. Spinach. This is not what I was served. They've changed it because it was cheddar cheese, but it's close. Candied walnuts, feta cheese, dried cranberries, and balsamic. It was more dried cranberries than anything else, and there were a lot of cheese cubes in it. Feta doesn't come in cubes. Like, it sounded like a Waldorf. That's why I thought spinach and candied walnuts, but still, like, ew. Just didn't work for me. Now I'm hungry for salad. You be killed by the walnuts? Fair enough. How you feel? Yeah, sure. But I'm in Minneapolis. So... I have no idea. Well, that worked. But yeah, I think I have a picture somewhere of all of the cranberries I eventually left on my plate. Just like, it's so chewy. Like, salads are not supposed to be chewy. Come on. There we go. Nuts. But I digress. Also, there's like a bunch of reasonable places to eat nearby. Like, especially if you're using the Skyway, which is a fascinating thing. So basically, most of the even remotely high-rising buildings in Minneapolis are connected by a single, well, not a single, but like a bunch of tubes. Oh, there's the Midway. So a whole bunch of sky bridges connect all these buildings during working hours. So you can, in fact, go between buildings and find all these stuff that could be good. The only time I ended up really using it was when we went to try to find some breakfast sandwiches. Me and Blue Ribbon. I think Hawalucha was there. Yeah, I'm very certain. No, wait. It was me and Blue Ribbon. I don't remember. I think it was Hawalucha. It might have been tuna. Doesn't matter. There are 3 people. And, yeah, the breakfast sandwich place wasn't very good. It had the worst grilled cheese sandwich I'd ever... Also, we were too late for breakfast sandwiches. The place served coffee but didn't open till 11, at least for food. I was not paying attention when I walked down there, so that didn't work. But I got this grilled cheese that didn't stick together all that at all. Like, it was more like the kind of cheese bread you get from, like, a pizza place in a lot of ways, but not in pleasant ways. If that makes sense. Yeah, it hurt my mouth. I'm very much like, I'm not ever going to go to that place again. If and when I go back to Minneapolis, that is not a thing that is happening. There we go, there's our H. This is the only part of the level I vaguely remember. Right. But yeah, it was just awful. I mean, I ate it because I paid for it, but honestly, it was just so hard. And not in the good way, Desi. I should just throw it there, that's what it's signaling. Yeah, I'm not a fan either. Usually I will eat whatever I have on hand. Wait. I can't believe that worked. Like, I actually have a bunch of grilled cheese makings that I need to eat. I probably would have today if I hadn't gone out yesterday and I ate my leftovers, the very garlicky chicken wings. Right, you need to make them jump. But yeah, I've got food that needs to be eaten. I've got some eggs that are getting close to their expiry date. And I was going to make some eggs in a basket because the bread I had bought for grilled cheese, like three of the pieces have a giant hole. Because, you know, bread, like in bread, air holes happen. It's not a big deal. I'm like, well, I got eggs. I've got bread that's already kind of holy. Eggs in a basket. So that's the plan tomorrow morning. Also because I'm out of raisin bran. Morning being relative too. I'll probably end up waking up around 11 like I did today. I'm probably not as rested as I was because I slept for like 13 hours. Praise the grain. That is my one regret when I beat Dark Souls on stream. I did not save the Praise the Sun man. I was sad about that. But it's one of those things that unless you knew to do it, it's very doubtful you would have done it. I think I need to go faster. Let's see if we can use any useful information. No. Better to open your bread and find something holy than to open it and find something unholy. True. True. I don't need unholy bread. So was the first time you saw someone you, other than yourself, use a chuck head as a fuzzy. It is a beautiful thing. But yeah. Dang it. I stole your magnum opus was attaching the camera to the third bullet bill. Or third egg. Nobody ever sees someone gonna attach a third bullet bill to the third... attach the camera to the third egg. Did the, like, full enhanced version of Boxman Tano ever come out? God, that final boss was so long. Worth it, but so long. Still planned? Good to hear. I played one of Daizo's more recent bosses in Jamie's hack that, like, came out yesterday? Maybe today. Very recently. Oh no, I need to land back on the platform. Souls games be like, didn't you know to touch a statue in the weird hole you didn't know about to collect the soul of the man you never knew, to unleash magic you never knew about? To give it to the chick on the far side of the world, so only to come back 2,200 hours later and be some assassins with a broken leg. It's amazing. It's a good boss one we've seen. Yes, you know it's a good boss. Haven't eventually, haven't been paying close attention. Barely been playing video games. Understandable. Understandable. But yeah, I beat the boss, legitimately. It took me an hour, but I did it. Truly one of the bosses of all time. There. Closer. I know what to do. Sometimes realization is the only important part. Either way, I'm pretty sure I'm going to beat my old time. That, or I'm not going to beat this level tonight. One or the other. Oh no. But yeah, Jamie's hack, if you're into sadism, you'll like masochism, you'll really like his hack. It uses Mario 1-ish physics, which is something you don't see in an awful lot of hacks. It also uses it in more of a Kaizo-y context, Because the only other hack I can point to that really uses like Mario 1, and this is All-Stars Mario 1 physics, not perfect Mario 1 physics. Only one I can point at that does that is Mario for Lost Players, which is kind of one of the like really, really good hacks of all time. Like, that hack is truly amazing in many, many ways. Difficult, yes, but never like terribly Kaizo-y, just difficult. Was one of the Hack Jam entries the first time they did Hack Jam, which was a really fun event. I still did play through the second Hack Jam. Oh, no. Think you should sleep? Good stream? Alright. Well, sleep well. See you later. Something that I was gonna say about the Souls thing really quick. That does remind me of how I lost EcoQuest when I was a child. There's a specific thing you have to do in the very first room of the game, and if you don't do it, you can't complete what is effectively the last puzzle of the game. Well, like the third to last puzzle of the game. It is a kick in the dick. Like, quite literally, 1, I had guessed what to do. 2, I looked it up in a... Well, we didn't have walkthroughs back then. We had UHF files. What to do, and he would not do it because the character, in character, didn't know to do it. What do I do there? It was infuriating. I recommend EcoQuest, but definitely look at the chalkboard. Always look at the chalkboard as the first thing you do in the game. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. It does help it's not a very long game. It's one of those things where you actually look at it and see it. So I found someone who had like dumped a bunch of Sierra games, other adventure games, like just their backgrounds all into a directory or something. And when you really look at it, it's not that many screens long. Not that you can really measure an adventure game in screens, but it's kind of hard to measure it otherwise. It's a good heuristic, if nothing else. An awful lot of the screens are wasted on what could only be called a maze if you were a very generous person. They're very pretty screens, though. It's kind of like you're going through a seaweed forest. Like, very pretty. It was still in the hand-drawn era. Okay, well, my plan there didn't work quite as well as I would have hoped. Okay. Genuinely, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Oh, I got a lot to say about that one. I played that as a kid. Oh, you can't spin jump off that. Apparently, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy takes advantage of a lot of that. Deliberately bad adventure game design stuff, puzzles with limited tries. Just one fewer, the about to figure it out organically if you get the hints. Meaning the first time at the end, where someone asks for a random tool, you don't have it. From the entire game. Not sure why they just have this competition. That was more of the style at the time, to be honest. But yeah, the Babelfish puzzle from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is fairly infamous because you need to have acquired an awful lot of things that you probably didn't think you needed at the very beginning of the game. Not to mention the other stuff, like you need to bring a sandwich with you. Don't eat the peanuts, you need to save the peanuts. There's so much stuff in there that's completely bonkers. And then understanding the nature of that thing your aunt gave you that you don't know what it is actually key to the important part of the game. Acquiring no tea, or somehow acquiring both tea and no tea at the same time. There's a lot of bonkers stuff in that. What's fascinating is after that, they let Douglas Adams design a second game called Bureaucracy, which my father actually had bought and had a boxed copy of when I was a kid. Daddy still has it, but you know. Oops. But that one, we never got past the first screen. Well, first couple areas. There's a puzzle right at the beginning of the game. Also, let me frame this. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy largely plays out the series of events that you have in the first book of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So, you know, you're Arthur Dent. You end up going on a fascinating galactic adventure when you don't really want to because you're a British bloke who would just prefer to, like, go to the pub and hang out for a bit. But anyway, bureaucracy, the entire purpose of the game is to file a change of address form with your credit card, with your bank. That's the entire purpose of the game. And in fact, the feelie provided for that game, one of them, is an actual copy of that form. So your goal is to fill out that change of address form. One of the first puzzles in the game is acquiring your mail. And you think that it'd be simple. You could just open mailbox, get mail. Well, Douglas Adams thought this should be a bit harder, and then there's a llama next to your mailbox. And whenever you try to get mail, the llama will get angry at you. Conveniently, there is a bag of llama feed next to the llama. So you can acquire llama feed, and then give it to the llama, and presumably you could pick up your mail then, right? So you give feed to llama, and then you try, and he says, okay, the llama is eating the food, and then you try to get the mail. And it's like, no, llama, still there. Still bleats you away from being able to get your mail. That's... yeah, broke one of the cardinal rules of text-based adventure games right off the bat. What you have to do, look this up many years after the fact, is feed a llama and get mail. One line. Did not figure that out as a kid because the fundamental rule of text adventure games is you type in one sentence at a time. You don't do two things at a time. That's not how that works. I can't think of any games that typically require a compound action that I've played. I beat most of Beyond Zork. I don't think that one required any of those. So, you're imagining a big box with an imposing brutalist skyscraper on the front. Just says Kafka's. You're actually not that far off. The cover is like a bank teller, and it does look a bit like maybe Art Deco. But yeah, you're not far off. So like, here's the picture. It is a bit brutalist in the back. Not quite brutalist, but yes. No, they don't. That's the thing. It's usually not a required thing to do. And so the fact that there was a compound action was very surprising, but not something I ever would have guessed as a kid. It's just not in the list. I think I did that too early. I didn't do that too early. But yeah, Beyond Zork was the text adventure game I got the closest to beating. And I do think that I took some hints on that. Because, dear lord, there are some things in that game that are really hard to do. Also, you could screw yourself at the title screen. So, well, not quite the title screen, but you know what I mean. Oh, okay, so I do actually need to jump there. I see what I did wrong. Beyond Zork is weird, because they were looking at the market and were like, you know what's cool? People really seem to like RPGs. Let's turn our text-based adventure game into a partial RPG. And so there is combat in the game. And to be fair, there's been combat in other old school games like that. The original Colossal Cave Adventure even has combat. The first Zork has combat. The one in Colossal Cave Adventure is determined kind of randomly, so you can just upright die when one of the dwarves comes at you with an axe. But, you know, they added stats for Beyond Zork. And you could choose your stats at the beginning. You could actually point by as if it was like a real RPG, like Might and Magic, Ultima. And they gave some pre-mades as well, just in case, you know, you wanted to not think about that. The problem is a shocking number of those pre-mades would not be able to complete the game. The game actually has stat checks for a number of those things, and while you can increase your stats, like strength and dexterity and compassion, which is a stat, by the way, for some reason, and that stat's actually the most important stat in the game, because if you don't have compassion at the end of the game, you just lose. And before someone gets mad about it, this is a 40-year-old text adventure at this point. Can't believe I got there. What's the most important quality for a hero? The ability to spell the word shillelagh, which will be your weapon of choice for a good chunk of the game. But yeah, it's the plot of that one is actually pretty nonsensical. Like, quite literally at the beginning, you can rename it. So one of the first things we'd always do when we played was rename Shillelagh Club. So you could then refer to it with Club. But honestly, after you equipped the item, you don't think you needed to refer to it by name again. Yeah. Also of interest, that game actually has slightly randomized maps. So certain areas are completely randomized. The first part of it isn't. So, like, you start in a field or something, and then you go east twice. It goes to show how many times I've played this. You end up at a dock where there's a old salty mariner who is painting a picture of some sort, and you can talk to him about stuff if you feel so inclined. It's the lowest tier of attacking weapon in that game. So I think in that you... Oh, no, you get the dagger pretty early on. Yeah, so, like, the game does have a certain flow to it. There isn't, like, an order of operations. There are certain times you can go do things how you want to, but, like, the game really does want you to do things in a certain order. So, basically, you get your shillelagh, and then you go to the town. And... Dang it. And in the town... Filled with lead? Oh, I didn't realize it was an actual thing. I just thought it was the Irish word for stick. For club. But then you go to the town, and there's a dude who's like, yes, I need your help. I want to get my wine out of this basement. And so you help him get the wine out of the basement. So you have to fight some rats. No, dust bunnies. You have to fight some dust bunnies? I forget. It was something silly. But, basically, down there, you also can acquire a dagger, which you need. Because you... Oh, and you get a few important things. You get the wine bottle, but before that, you can find an amulet. And it's very important you do this, or else you won't succeed in the game. You need to look at the amulet through the wine bottle, where you will see the magical word, which is probably Prosser. I don't know if it randomizes, but I remember it being Prosser very frequently. You will need this word. I don't remember where you use this word, but you will need it. And then after that, you go to the lighthouse, where there's a riddle on the wall, and you type in the answer to the riddle, and it opens the wall, so you can go to the lighthouse. And then that's where you fight the dust bunnies. And then there's a chest, and you open the chest, and out pops a Dorn beast, which is a beast with many, many eyes. So, what's really important, of course, in the area you were just at, was that you needed to acquire a big ol' onion. Yes, there's a giant onion in the area above that dungeon I just talking about. And so you have to roll the onion to the lighthouse all the way up so you can cut the onion and make it so that the Dorn beast is unable to fight you due to onion vapor. Adventure games. Yep, exactly. I got very good at typing roll onion. I also give you the option like macro things if I recall correctly, so you could just like have it type out roll onion if you press like F7. It had a relatively advanced parser. The funniest thing about the Infocom story is that the reason, one of the main reasons they went bankrupt is because they tried to go straight. They wanted to do a line of business software. They wanted to make a database where you could do sort of natural language querying based upon their parser tech. It turns out nobody wanted this. Ow, I jumped. Shillelagh is a spell to turn a club or staff magical, mostly used by druids. Yeah, Squiggles uses that one a lot. I think he's an artificer. No, he was a druid last thing. He used Shillelagh a lot last time when he was a druid. He's an artificer. He's like, what, do you expect you to do any random thing? Like, yes, artificers do all sorts of random crap. You never know what they're going to do. Nuts. But yeah, then after you defeat the Dorn Beast, you can open the chest again. And that chest takes you to a magical place where there's a unicorn. And I think you need to do two things. I think you need to find a horseshoe that was left there and kiss the unicorn's horn explicitly. Kiss it. That's what you have to do. Kissing it raises your luck stat. I think it might also raise your compassion a bit. Because oh, you might do something else to help him out. I forget. Needless to say, it has been a little bit of time. The worst thing in the game, without a doubt, is the Wand of Inversion, which allows you to turn anything inside out. This is required for a certain puzzle after you make a hungus, which I think is more or less an elephant, based upon the description. Eat an item that you need. And so the only way to get it out of said pachyderm is to invert it. Which the game definitely takes heed to tell you is incredibly gross. You can also do that to the monkey grinder, but that guy's annoying. It doesn't help. Thinking I'd actually like it. You also end up squishing the Wicked Witch of the West at some point with a house. And it's very important to note what color her socks are, because that relates to a key you need to get later. Divert. Yeah, it's not a word I use very often. Diversion is a really good game, though. I played that on stream, actually twice. Many years ago. It's a cute game. It's a cute character platformer. It's actually a really good Halloween game. I can't say too much about it because that kind of ruins the surprise, because it's short. I suspect most people who are happy to go for any percent. Most people don't turn enough things inside out to need a word for it. True. I like that it has 3 endings now. When I first played it, it was free. It only had 2 endings. The any percent and the true ending. And now there's the any percent, the true ending, and the ending that makes way too much sense and is actually pretty funny when you think about it. But I can't explain remotely why it works without ruining a good chunk of the game. And Aversion is worth playing, believe me. One of those games I kind of wish I could erase from my memory and play again in its entirety. You know you're hungry. No, you are not. You're even less you when you're inverted. Averted. Just need to go for it. Do. This is an ending theme of some game, isn't it? I'm also not that... I'm not that far away from the end. Because I did, scrub the video to see how long it took me. It took me a little bit more than 2 hours to beat the level. Scrub is also a fun word to use in that context. Yeah, see, there's the orb. It's some Cave Story, thank you. Oh, Cave Story's got a lot of great tracks, and I still haven't played more than 5 minutes of it. I got all the way where you fought the thing that looked like a toaster, and I didn't do any. I don't know if I even, or he takes away something. I didn't know how much further I got beyond that. I don't think I played it for long enough to really appreciate it. It's possible. We could actually look this up. So there's a fun trick. This fellow named Spoons implemented a music finder for SMW, where you can hand this page a patch or a patched hack, and it will, knowing how add music works and knowing stuff about that, try to identify all the music within. It is truly a fantastic tool, and I cannot shill for it enough. I have used it recently within a stream. Someone asked me randomly if I knew what this track was in a hack, and I'm like, no, but I know how to find out. So I found it. It wasn't easy to find because, typically the tool also says which levels a given track is used in. But sometimes it doesn't. I really hope that spider is on the far side and not on the projector lens. That's kind of disconcerting, actually. There was a dot that was just part of the HUD, that looked like part of the HUD, and it was just bugging me, and now I can see quite clearly it's a spider. pretty sure it would need to be a very, very small spider to blow up that way. It's not on the lens. Anyway, I don't really mind spiders. They eat bad, worse insects. I'm happy to have them around. But anyway, that tool's really good. So we'll check in a minute or two. See if you're right, just for the fun of it. Alright. Let's take a look. Part of what my system does when I do the hack command is it also dumps a copy of the file into the temp directory. So it'll go away when I reboot my computer. But it's convenient when I need to see it really quick. Wish you weren't afraid of spiders. They're such strange and interesting creatures. That they are. Dance. It's definitely not Dream Theater Dance of Eternity. It's definitely not Buck Bumble title screen. This has a lot of things in it, actually. Cave Story Pier Walk. Let's see if this is it. Where's the player? There it is. You are correct. It is Cave Story Pier Walk. Anyway, here's the tool and what it shows when I uploaded that file. It keeps track of files, I guess, which makes this very convenient. So, but there's other stuff in there too. There always is. This might have been the Romhack Races base ROM, or maybe Shovda was working on something Mario related when she released this and used that as the base ROM. And I will read that message in a second. That's composed but not used in the game. Interesting. Can't stop taking your eyes off them when they're near you. This goes into a room. Goes in a bottle to be dumped outdoors. Oh, that's still good. You're not killing them at least. Spiders are friends. Okay. Yeah, Cave Story is one of those things that I find incredibly impressive. Dude was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make a game. I'm gonna do the graphics. I'm gonna program it. I'm gonna do the music. Turns out, dude's good at all of those things. Just truly impressive. All around. Absolute, like, game programmer renaissance man. I wasn't even gonna mention that Fistspitzer was afraid of spiders, but then he did it for me. Detected in fear of spiders, so clearly not your friends. Maybe your brain evolved wrong. Sometimes evolution doesn't go in the right direction. This would make more sense if you were, like, Australian or something. Does Europe even have, like actually venomous spiders? I don't think it does. Because I wouldn't know. I guess I've never been worried about that. Like, the United States only has really two, the brown recluse and the black widow. One of which is easy to note, and the other one doesn't live in Seattle. Actually, neither of them live in Seattle, which good for Fistpit, I suppose. Oi, mate. Only dangerous under certain continents. North America? Yeah, no. Black widows are not common. I've seen a few, unless you, like, go to swampy areas of the South. Got bit by one once. Don't think it was a female. That's why I'm not dead. But yeah, Australia more so. Also, how you doing, Fistbit? How was the chocolate hangover? Oh yeah, it was also the worst thing, I should mention, at the Chocolate Festival. The worst thing, without a doubt, was the goat kebab chocolate. That place had such weird ideas, like some sort of curry soup dish. After trying the goat, I didn't want to try anymore, because I'm like, this is very much curry. I don't want this in a chocolate. Many references to Violet's demise in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory were made, of course, because it did in fact taste like a whole meal in one unfortunate package. Always turn into blueberries. Right, this part I remember because I got very confused when I first did that. It was basically a meal. I made it. And with a lot better time than last time. That took me all of like 40 minutes. Let's see. Let's see what it says. Also, this is another great track. 2 hours and 9 minutes previously. Yeah. According to this, yeah, 141. So it took me 40-ish minutes? 50-ish minutes? That's not bad. That's improvement I can get behind. That would have put me a little bit behind Illustrious. You know what? I can live with that. There are some black widows that aren't common. Oxtail stew with chocolate? I could eat that. There's a difference between like savory chocolate that's put into a dish. Mole is delicious. You can put chocolate and chili. There's options. But not chocolate that's supposed to be sweet and also taste like goat kebab. That's just wrong. Cocoa and Mexican hot sauces? Yeah, exactly. Goat curry is weird. Yeah, mole is the very traditional one for that. It's delicious. One of the most interesting things I think I've ever drunk, just story-wise at least, was a sacrificio, pechuga, mezcal, where it's where you hang something in the still along with the stuff you're going to distill. And in this case, it was a mole goose, like a whole mole goose. And it was delicious. Fruits and and other things are more common, but meat can happen a lot too. But they're delicious. Anyway, good level. It was nice to revisit it, and I'm glad my time went down significantly.